Not the result that the Raptors wanted last night in their home opener. However, there's a lot of takeaways. You're watching Raptors Today. I'm Savanna Hamilton alongside Paul Jones, and Sherman Hamilton will be joining us a little bit later. Now, the Raptors lost to the Washington Wizards 83-98. But like I said, a lot of takeaways. What were your thoughts?
Well, Savannah, first of all, the crowd, it was electric in the building. I had a headset on doing the broadcast, the radio broadcast, and I had to take it off at times just to hear the noise because I could just hear it coming through the microphone and the headset. Crowd was terrific. Team was gassed up, and that might have been a little bit of a problem in terms of, the shooting early on. We saw some easy ones miss, but I liked how hard they played. I think there's some tweaks that have to be made both at the offensive and defensive end, but it's the first game.
Absolutely.
There are 81 more to go. It's a long season. Personalities, team identities develop over that time. They're off, at least they've started the season with an idea of who they want to be.
Exactly, and somebody who stood out last night was Scottie Barnes.
Yeah.
Not the perfect game that and everybody was, not really expecting. He's still a rookie at the end of the day, but he almost had a double-double. He was just one rebound shy of it. Still contributed 12 points to the offense, but he had a great showing, I thought, in my mind, given everything else. So, what were your takeaways?
I thought he did a good job, and I could see that there was maybe a little bit of nervous energy there. He missed a couple of easy ones. There were a couple of turnovers, just the decision making. But hey, such are the vagaries when you have a young player and a guy playing his first game. So again, give him time. I liked what he did defensively. There was one point in the game where the Raptors had the crowd into it. They were mounting a little bit of a comeback. They inbounded the ball to Bradley Beal, who is one of the toughest covers in the NBA. And Beal turned at his own free throw line 75 feet from the basket, and Scottie was sitting in his chair right in front of him. So I love his attitude, the effort, and the youthful enthusiasm and exuberance that he's going to display. That's going to carry him on a night like last night.
Absolutely.
When not everything else is going well, you can still work hard.
Absolutely. Now, talk about making a splash into the league. The first regular season NBA basket for Dalano was a half-court shot in front of his hometown. You saw him getting a little emotional in the beginning of the game. Tell me, what did you think of his play?
Well, it was a 49-footer officially listed in the stats, and it was at a great time at the end of the third quarter. And you know what? I thought Delano's presence changed the game a bit. Nick Nurse playing a hunch. He hadn't played him for almost 3 quarters. Put him in, he makes a shot. He does some really nice things. He showed he wasn't afraid. Came in with energy, kind of got the team going, and in the midst of what turned into a mini comeback run for the Raptors, Dalano was all over it, passing the ball, scoring, out there with his young compatriots. So again, I like his room for growth. I like that he came off the bench and gave the team energy right away, and that's in the back of Nick Nurse's mind, and maybe Dalano will get some minutes earlier on if things aren't going well.
I think we'd all love to see that because he did make that impact immediately the moment he touched the floor. It was very obvious he truly was wearing his heart on his sleeve playing for his city last night. But we gotta get a little realistic here because it was still not a great night shooting wise for the team as a whole. Not the best field goal percentage, both from the three-point line and from the field. They missed a lot of bunnies, to be honest. Yeah,
they did, Savannah. And to your point, and we talked about this off mic, off camera before, I don't know how many games you're going to win shooting in the low 30s in terms of percentage. They did miss a lot of easy ones, particularly early. And I just felt that once they got behind, there was a little bit of a push. Again, a young team. And even your veterans in somewhat new roles, Fred, OG, guys trying to lead the team. And I thought at times there were some, even within the flow of their offense, there were some quick shots and tried to get it all back at once. Again, first game, learning experience, and then the chemistry will come. Some of those easy ones that were missed, I think guys got the ball unexpectedly. It's like, wow, I'm open here, and it's a rush shot rather than being composed and putting it in. So this is all part of the learning and growing process.
And you just touched on it right there. This is game one of a long season ahead, as Fred was talking about in his presser afterwards as well. So, keep expectations low. This is still a young team that's going to be growing as the season progresses as well. So definitely.
Well, let's see what they have. I mean, they're going into Boston for a tough game against a team that's coming off a double overtime loss, and it's their home opener as well.
Now, we saw a 2-point guard lineup start the game. This is pretty familiar for the Raptors, as last year we had Lowry and Fred VanVleet fill those two roles. This year it was Fred VanVleet and Goran Dragic who did the second point guard position. It was a big question in the air because there was potential that Gary Trent Jr. could have started, of course. That was the big preseason question. But what did you take away from the lineup you saw last night, sir?
Savanna, it's something, as you said, we've seen before. It was Kyle and Fred, and their chemistry was such that they knew who would be handling the ball, who would be running the offense, and then who would play off the ball. That's something that I think that development, that chemistry match that's still developing between Goran Dragic and Fred VanVleet. And there are times when they're still trying to figure it out. Who's gonna take it this time, or who's gonna kind of get us into our set? Who's gonna make the initial foray into the offense, and who's gonna play off the ball? And I think that's something that's gonna take time. And I wouldn't be surprised. I know he likes to shuffle the lineup. I wouldn't be surprised to have Nick Nurse stick with this for a bit, just so the guys can get used to it. I mean, you can practice all you want. We know that practice and games are totally different.
Yes.
There's a different speed, a different rhythm. The lights are on. There's just a little bit, of a different flow to things. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that lineup hang in for a while so they can develop some chemistry.
Absolutely, and something that Goran Dragic actually said to the media before was the fact that this system is different. He's still used to some heat culture things in terms of offensive and the way that they transition. He mentioned that Precious Achiuwa now has the freedom of taking the ball down the court. If you get the rebound, just go. And in traditional sense, you outlet it to the point guard, you run the offense through them. But with this new kind of facing Raptors team that's kind of positionless in a sense, it allows for different lineups. And something that we did see last night as well was the 6-9 lineup that came in towards the end of the third quarter. It was that Dalano stretch, of course, that really changed the momentum of the game.
It was the four Bs, right? Banton, Boucher, Birch. They were all in there, and and Scottie Barnes too. They did a great job. I mean, there was one sequence where there was a dribble handoff and a back cut by Boucher turned into a basket, and then you talk about the switchability, all those guys being basically the same size. I thought it was a good indication of what could be coming in the future. They did a nice job in cutting into the lead, and then you look at it, who's really the ball handler? Is it Dalano? Is it Scottie? And then you've got a guy like Boucher who's willing to step out and take threes. So I liked what I saw from that lineup, especially when they were trying to make that comeback.
Now we're going to hear from the team, Nick Nurse, Fred VanVleet, and the hometown hero who had a great game last night, Dalano Banton.
Everything. Yeah, I mean, listen, like, it's going to be some of these, right? You know what I mean? It is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. At this point, we're trying things, a lot of things, and none of it which worked tonight. Hopefully, we'll go back to the drawing board tomorrow, try to come up with something that'll work for us in Boston. But the only thing I really was upset about or that I felt, that I let our group down was just we didn't fight like enough. It just wasn't. We didn't play hard enough, tough enough, smart enough, and that's the stuff that you can control. But again, that comes with learning how to be a pro and learning what it takes to win. Which you look down the roster, it's a lot of inexperience there. So we let the crowd down. That was a hell of a crowd. The fans did their part. We just didn't play well enough. But it's game one. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it has something to do with inexperience. Me and OG didn't shoot the ball well together, which is not going to work with this group that we have. But again, nerves and all of that comes in a lot of different forms and fashion. I just thought that we were a little tentative after the first couple minutes. We had a quick 7, and then we hit a wall. And they kept going. They were getting offensive rebounds. So give them credit. Give Washington credit. They kicked our butts, and we're going to have to continue to get better. But again, it's a long year. Yeah, I mean, it's all new, right? Some of it is just being soft, and I had a couple soft finishes. trying to get fouls. We had a few of those. Some of it was just sloppiness, throwing the ball around, throwing it off each other's feet, running in each other's way. Like, it'll take time. We'll get a flow and a rhythm, which we had zero of. And, that's kind of the way that Nick is coaching us, is to play within the flow, but sometimes it's not there. So we'll try to find a better way to get that going on the offensive end. I thought we guarded, decent, but just all around not a very good performance. Dalano came in. He was great with his energy at the end, and that was probably the only bright spot we had tonight.
Definitely through the adversity throughout the whole game with the team. We never felt anything from the fan base to where they felt we were out of the game at any point, and just that constant push from them is kind of what helped us get back into it there in the fourth. But just to play in front of your home crowd and hear that noise and hear that chant, is great. And, I appreciate all the fans for just, loving me and, taking me in with such open arms. Coach is very straightforward with us. He'll put us in positions to be successful. He makes it very straightforward for us just, to be in your spot. So I was just, trying to come in and, do what I can do to help bring any type of energy and in any sort of way, just, being in my right spot, just having my hands up, the little things that can help go a long way for the team. So, I try to just do anything I can to help win and help bring any type of energy to the table. Just definitely playing play by play. I feel like that was the thing that got to our head, just, thinking about the last play too much, and, just learning that there's a lot of possessions throughout the game. It's a 48-minute game, and the ball's going to go back and forth from team to team, and, you just have to focus on when the next possession, the next defensive possession, or when you get the ball back. I feel like we're taking too much time thinking about what happened the other possession or the shot we took before. So, I feel like just, playing to the next play and, playing till the whistle's done. And, like I said, having a lot of talented guys on the team, you're never out of the game. So just playing till the whistle's playing till the game's done is definitely going to be a big thing for us. And, we're going to continue to do that.
Yeah, I almost throw it down to as one of those nights tonight, because we did get there was a whole bunch of point blank layups that just kept finding a way to roll off, and they were kind of spirit takers a little bit, right? We were struggling to score, and we finally make a good read and a good play, and we got one there, and it comes off, and they'd be probably landing it at the other end because we're taking a stride or two because we're dejected because we thought we had one, and you know what I mean. Those are I thought we had a few too much of that too, where we thought we had a play there and it didn't go our way, and we were giving up an easy transition basket at the other end. We can't do that, compound our mistakes like that. He was okay, right? I think he was okay. He was I think got his feet wet, and I think we see a really good player there, right? He did make some good plays. He rebounded the ball. I thought he pushed the ball pretty good, and things like that. I see he only had one assist, which is kind of low for him. I thought he had a few more passes than that led to buckets, but maybe we didn't make them. Or I think one there was somebody wide open and waited to count late, and the guy was by it and out of bounds. Yeah, so it was a good. I was pretty happy with Scottie for a first appearance. That was again. It was a little bit of it was a defensive substitution actually, because Fee had 4 fouls and just wanted to give Dalano a shot to finish out the quarter there, and then obviously I thought he was a big factor for the improved pace and the improved offense. He was really getting guys to run and cut and move and making plays early in transition. So it was a good night for him.
We're now going to head over to Sherman Hamilton for some player breakdowns.
Thanks, Sav. Montrezl Harrell has been a player in this league that has provided a lot of energy, a lot of spark, and this is what he's done his whole career. And this young man does a great job of presenting presence. Whatever team he's playing on, you feel his presence. And the Raptors felt the presence of Montrezl Harrell when the Washington Wizards came to town. And you think about how he did it. It's simple stuff. He's around the paint. He's scrappy. He gets after it on the glass. He's a physical player. And he really showed some deficiencies in terms of what the Raptors need to improve on early in the season with a guy who's that active on the glass, who can rebound, put a lot of pressure on your glass. You've got to be physical and match his intensity. He was excellent around the paint, shot over 80% from the floor. He was great on the offensive glass. And he's also a guy who understands how to space himself in order to be the recipient of the drop-off pass. And he has good hands and he finishes well. And I just like the fact that his energy level doesn't dip. He's constantly chirping. He's constantly playing at a high pace. And he's constantly has that aggressive demeanor about his game. But his skill level's improving. We see him handle the basketball, knock down a jump shot. We see him get to the hoop, make moves around the basket based on footwork. And he's got a better understanding of where he needs to be in terms of offensive spacing on the interior. But I thought the Raptors struggled with him. And he's going to present issues around the league because of that physicality. And if you're a Raptor fan or you're on the Raptors side trying to figure things out, you look at a guy like Montrezl Harrell and say, if that's what you face every night, does this team have what it takes to keep a guy like that at bay? That's the question that they're going to have to answer. But Montrezl did a great job really presenting a lot of issues for the front line of the Toronto Raptors. And it added some questions to the Raptors in terms of how tough are they going to be in their paint. But this is a guy who will expose that if you're not there consistently, every possession being just as aggressive and as physical as Montrezl Harrell.
Get the ball in. Bertans, the touch pass to Harrell again. Harrell gathers and puts it back up and in. He is relentless.
The monster is in the building.
Game 1 of 82 games, the Raptors lose to the Wizards, but you look at some of the things that transpired in Game 1 that didn't happen in preseason and some of the things that happened in preseason that didn't happen in Game 1. And one of the players that I look at is Svi Mykhailiuk. I thought in the preseason, he had much more of an effortless flow offensively. He had very good timing. And I think it's something we're going to see throughout the course of the season. In Game 1, we didn't see the offensive efficiency and the ability to put the ball in the basket in multiple ways, but I still thought his movement within the Raptors offense is something that we're going to see with consistency. And when those shots and those plays start to fall, we're going to see what we saw in the preseason. But I like his fit. I like how he operates in terms of he's not a guy who's got to take away from the offense to get his offense going. He fits in. He fits with the flow. He moves the ball well. He moves well physically to different parts of the floor. And I like the fact that he understands how to space the floor. I like his size on the defensive end, but that's an area that he's going to have to work at. But I thought even though Svi didn't play the best in terms of offensive production, he didn't look out of place. He still took shots and made plays or tried to make plays that he would normally make. And I think those things are going to come along. But I just like the way he fits. From a size perspective, we understand that he fits the mold of the Raptors. But overall, Game 1 didn't have the best offensive game. That's okay. That's going to happen. But I like the fact that he continued to be himself, continued to try to make the plays that we saw him make in the preseason, and he didn't shy away from shots. Those are the consistent things that you're going to need from a player in the rotation, a guy who can help you coming off the bench, and a guy who's versatile enough to make plays from different areas of the floor for himself or for teammates.
Turnover. Here come the Raptors. Dragic, Svi, and it's good. Mykhailiuk showing you a little something.
Everyone was anxious to see what OG Anunoby would look like this season. In the preseason, absolutely phenomenal, efficient. Everything was together. Game 1 doesn't have the same offensive flow, I think, in terms of production, but I still liked what he did on the floor. And this is what I enjoy about OG. Throughout his development offensively, OG is the kind of guy that's not going to lose the staples of what makes him a good basketball player, which is his physicality, which is his defense, which is his rebounding. And we saw that in Game 1 against the Wizards. Even though he didn't score the basketball, he was still on the glass with double figures, rebounding, had a couple of blocks, steal. He was physical on the defensive end. He made guys like Bradley Beal work. I just like OG's overall demeanor. And even though he didn't score the basketball as efficiently as we saw in the preseason, What we did see from OG is more of the fluidity, more of the ability to change directions, make moves with the basketball, have it there, and present it when he's trying to make a play. Again, all these tenets are good things moving forward because the shots are going to fall. The plays are going to happen for OG as long as he continues to be aggressive offensively. But to see him with this new ability and confidence with the basketball to make those kind of plays, it's really great to see, especially when Nick Nurse understands that he's never going to lose that defensive presence that OG brings to this team, whether it be on the perimeter or whether he's guarding a bigger person in the paint. OG is going to be present on that end of the floor. Lots of good things ahead for OG, I believe, this season. And even though game one didn't go the way he wanted it to go offensively, he did too many good things on the floor to even be worried about it. OG looking for big things from him this season.
Today we got to look at who the Raptors will be playing ahead in the schedule. They are playing the Boston Celtics, who are coming off a crazy game against the Knicks. They lost in double overtime, but Jaylen Brown, what a game. He had 46 points in 46 minutes. This could be a bit of a problem, but break it down to me, Jonesy.
Well, there's two guys that we need to have the Raptors look at, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And they are the two guys, and you're watching their development. They came into the league as these raw youngsters playing with sheer athleticism. They're learning the game now. You talked about that 46 points in 46 minutes, and even Tatum, he may not have been that efficient, but boy, the scoring was still there. And if you're the Raptors, those are the two guys you really have to focus on. And you've got a couple guys matchup-wise on the wing in terms of OG and Scottie Barnes who can probably match up with them. The harsh reality, Savanna, is that nobody plays defense the way they used to in the NBA. And what I mean by that is, it's not like, okay, OG, you've got Tatum, hang on to him. With the screen and roll and all the actions going on, there's a lot of switching. So it's going to have to be a team effort. And that's the great thing about a Nick Nurse coach team. When Nick decides one guy is going to stay on one guy, we see things like triangle and two, box and one, and you stick him and hold him. I don't want him getting anything, but really it's got to be a collective five-man thing when you're trying to stop players of that caliber.
Absolutely. We did see a zone defense last night in the home opener as well, but when you do the man-to-man but switching everything, at least with this lineup that the Raptors have, they're so versatile, they're so lengthy that it can contain a team. And so when you're talking about players like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, it's a matter of containing them and not letting them go off, because if the rest of the guys are forced to score, then that puts the odds probably better in the Raptors' favor.
Well, back in the day when there was a switch, they used to use two terms, right? Switch and deny or switch and smother. So we'll see if the Raptors get to any of that if those guys are getting switches.
Absolutely. We got to look forward to the next game, which will be on Friday, 7:30. You can watch it on Sportsnet and listen to it on TSN. Jonesy, do you have any final thoughts for me?
1 down, 81 to go.
Absolutely. Thank you for watching Raptors Today from Armando, Jake, Paula Jones, Sherman Hamilton. I'm Savanna Hamilton. Thank you for watching.